Today's video was sponsored by Storyblocks Video. You know, if there ever was a pocketable equivalent for the RE Sky panel, then it has to be this light. This is the Aputure ALMC, and that is literally the best summary I can think of for this light. This is actually a light that I completely underestimated the first time I saw it because it just seems so small and harmless, but don't let its small size and price tag fool you. This small light actually packs in quite a bit of pro features. This MC that I'm reviewing is a pre-release prototype, so it might differ slightly from the final retail version, but I do imagine this is pretty much exactly what the final version is going to be. So a quick rundown of what this light is. It is an RGB WW light, so it's an RGB light with two sets of white LEDs in addition to it. And what these two sets of extra white LEDs do is they help with white color reproduction better when you're trying to output white instead of any other color. There's a set of white LEDs at 3200 Kelvin and another set at 6500 Kelvin, so you can adjust the light to output any color temperature within that range, similar to how you could do that on some bicolor LED panels. And of course, RGB means you can also have the light output pretty much virtually any color. So if you've used the good old Aputure M9 before, then you would be quite familiar with the form factor of the MC. The face of the M9 had pretty much the exact same dimensions as a credit card. The MC is ever so slightly bigger than that. The MC is also slightly thicker and unsurprisingly heavier. This thing weighs in at just under 130 grams. It is a much more powerful light, but still, it is still very small and nimble, and at just about the size of a playing card, it's still extremely portable. This light is also scientifically attractive because it's got two very strong magnets on the back of it, so you can mount this light quite literally just by sticking it onto things and places, and that includes some tripods, light stands, C-stands, and you can even use it as a crazy fancy fridge magnet if you want. It's also got a 1/4-inch tripod socket on its base, which is something that was missing from the M9. It charges through USB Type-C, and when you power it on, there is an OLED display that shows you what is going on, and right here is the one dial that you are going to use to control the whole light. Very minimalistic, yes, but practically speaking, not the fastest, not the most intuitive either. You use a mix of presses, long presses, and dial rotations to switch between modes and settings, and also dial in values. Honestly, it's not that difficult, but I'm rambling quite a bit about it because there is a much easier way of controlling this light, and that is using Aputure's Suspense App. But we'll save the app for later. For now, there are three modes on this light: CCT, HSI, and FX. CCT stands for correlated color temperature, so it's basically white light mode. You dial in a color temperature and you set how bright you would like it. Very simple. And HSI mode stands for hue, saturation, and intensity. So you dial in a hue or color represented by a degree that correlates to the color wheel, then you dial in how saturated you want that color to be, and then finally you set an output intensity. And in effects mode, you basically jog through a few presets. Now from the light itself, you're only able to control the intensity of these effects. If you want to fine-tune those effects, that is possible with the Suspense app. The Suspense app is basically that one app that controls all of the Aputure lights. So inside the app, under effects, there are tweakable parameters that are unique to each effect, like what colors to flash for the cop car effect, the color temperature for the faulty bulb effect, and also more generic stuff like flashing frequency or flashing patterns. In my opinion, I really do think that you need the Suspense app to unlock the full potential of the MC. You would be missing out on quite a bit of functionality on the light if you're not using the app, so I would highly recommend it. The app is free and it's already out for iOS, but I believe the Android version is coming real soon. You can also change modes for the light from the app, and it does make the light much more easier to control this way. For example, you'd be using sliders to control the CCT and intensity. You can pick the output color straight from the color wheel, and there is also a mode that simulates the effect of certain lighting gels. And there's also one rather fun mode that uses your phone's camera to pick a color for the light. And the built-in effects, I'm not saying all of them look perfect, but a lot of them do look really convincing. But let's say if you ever happen to need some actual footage of police cars with their flashing lights on, then you can also get that easily from our sponsor, Storyblocks Video. They have got an incredible collection of stock footage that is really easy to search from, and you can use them at your disposal anywhere you like, including YouTube. A subscription to their unlimited video plan is very affordable, and you get unlimited downloads of anything in the video member library, and that's studio quality footage up to 4K, plus a collection of fully customizable After Effects and Apple Motion templates that can easily add production value to your content. Click the first link below to learn more about Storyblocks Video. So the MC comes with a bunch of accessories for mounting it, including a ball head. But the key accessory for me was this silicone diffuser. Now this diffuser doesn't really soften the light up that much because the overall size of the light source is still pretty much the same. But because it's slightly raised from the surface of the light, what it does a great job at is unifying all those little spots of individual LEDs that make up the whole light into this nice uniform plane of light. Which means it will no longer cast those ugly multiple shadows and would instead give you a single softer shadow. So, how bright exactly is the Aputure MC? If we set it to its peak brightness, which is when you set the saturation to 0 and you max out the intensity in HSI mode, and I place it about 2 feet away from my face, to expose my face correctly, I have to use a 50th shutter speed, f2.8, and my ISO is at 640. Hopefully that should give you a rough idea of how bright this light is, but if you absolutely need numbers, here's what my light meter reads in foot candles at exactly 1 meter away. And in terms of CRI, Aputure is claiming a CRI of above 95 on the MC, and measuring it with my Sekonic C700, it does check out. At either end of the CCT range, I was getting a CRI of about 97. That is a very good score and is totally usable throughout the whole range. The color temperature reproduction is also reasonably accurate throughout the range. I mean, it's not precisely spot on, but it's quite workable. One thing that I was kind of hoping to see on this light was a tint correction feature. Like, it would be very nice to be able to dial in a plus green or a minus green, which would be very helpful for matching light sources. And I'm gonna end with the battery, which I have absolutely no issues about. It's got a built-in lithium-ion battery, 2600 milliamp hours, and I got about exactly 2 hours of battery life running it continuously at maximum output, which is quite impressive. So to charge it, as mentioned before, you can charge it through its USB Type-C port, but you can also charge this light wirelessly using any Qi certified wireless charging pad. I know it's a bit weird because I think this is the first time we've seen a light with wireless Qi charging, and at first glance it almost seems borderline ridiculous. But honestly, I've actually been enjoying the wireless charging very much. I've almost exclusively been charging this light on my wireless charging pad that I use for my phones. Because when the option is right there on my desk, why reach for a cable and plug it in when I can just place it right there to charge? But laziness aside, I do think that makes this light even more travel friendly because wireless charging is getting more and more common nowadays. Plus, it also has USB-C, so both USB-C and Qi wireless charging are very, very universal ways for you to charge your mobile devices, so I guess you don't ever have to worry about powering options for this light. So that's it for my review on the Aputure ALMC. If you enjoyed this review, do consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon for more videos just like this, and I will see you in the next video. But until then, here's another video of mine, YouTube Things You Should Watch, or if you don't like a computer telling you what to watch, here's one of my latest videos.